Thanks, Steven. Okay, so I've got your Yachtsman here, and I have it up to power, and it's been cruising. Let's talk about the numbers first. Now, I don't remember you giving me a history on this watch. We can see the signal's pretty clean. It's got a lot of beat error, and it's out of adjustment. The amplitude's not bad. It's low-ish, but it's not bad. I've certainly seen worse. It's worrying that, I don't know, whenever I see this kind of beat error, I have some questions, especially when a watch looks like it's gotten work relatively recently. Now, this watch of yours has gotten some work. I wish I knew the history. I looked through our email exchanges, and I didn't get any input on that I could see. Maybe I just missed it. Okay, now this watch came. I noticed that the sweep hand has been replaced with an aftermarket that was cut to the wrong length. So somebody wasn't 100% careful there. This watch also lived, at least the case lived, a very hard life in a wet part of the world, wet and hot, all kinds of pitting around the inside of the case seal, and the sealing surface is completely blown through here, and pretty much is here as well. The movement looks okay. It's let me actually look at something really quick. Hang on. We'll look and see what we're dealing with. Okay, well, there's no lubrication on the capsule at all, so that pretty much tells me that we're going to need a service, but I think we knew that. I pulled the seal out of this because I wanted to look at these sealing surfaces here. Caseback has some pitting as well. Nothing major, but some. Okay. I mean, the metal doesn't look bad. I don't think this movement was water soaked, but here's another sign that whoever was working on this wasn't really doing their job. Instead of having the correct retaining spring in the movement ring, they just put in a rubber O-ring. This is kind of a classic sign of a Philippines rework, when they don't have the right parts, and they say screw it, and they put in whenever they get their hands on, and that's certainly something like that. I mean, the case doesn't look like it's a rework, but that's a little worrying. I do have the correct springs, so that's a good thing. Let me just put this on here. Case back looks decent. Doesn't look like it's been like super hideously polished. Your snap 2 is not super clean. It's an original dial. I'm not 100% sure about the hour and minute hands. Yeah, I think they're original. The sweep hand definitely is not. Sweep hand is definitely not correct. Wrong color for one thing, and it's also the wrong length. It should come right out to this chapter mark right over here. I think it needs service. I don't believe I have the correct length orange hand that this would have come with. I mean, this isn't bad. It's not a bad hand. If it were the correct length, it'd be... I wouldn't have thought about it too much at all. It's snapping over cleanly. That's fine. Your cannon pinion and or center wheel are pretty worn. That's not atypical. That snaps over the way it ought to. That's fine. It needs service. It needs the movement ring spring. It would just be happier once it was serviced. I'd probably leave the yellow sweep. It doesn't hurt anything. And it's already keyed to it. I mean, why change it? So I think we're looking at service, seals, perhaps. Actually, I haven't looked at the seals. We need definitely the casing spring. Your crystal is, it's been polished, I'll tell you that. Somebody took a lens grinder to it. I would replace the crystal personally. But we don't have to. There's no marks on it now, but that's because it's been polished. You can actually see the surface is kind of wavery. See how the surface is kind of like, it looks like a lake? a still lake at sunset, that surface there, that's because it's been polished. Yeah. We can certainly make it run better. It's not a bad looking watch, except for the sweep. It's original. Needs the spring, needs service, that kind of stuff. And we can talk about that. You and I had already set up our trade for the 6105 service plus the arrangement for time. This would be a separate deal, but we can make another arrangement for that too. If you want to talk Trekker or something, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, you let me know, but I think it's a fine project, okay?